Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Let's talk about the ratings for the NCAA Women's Division I basketball final. 8.5 million viewers, down just a little bit from last year. Okay, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Appreciate it as always. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. All right, here we go. Let's pop this open so you can see. This was last year most watched women's college game on record. 18.7 million viewers when Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes took on South Carolina. And now this year, 8.5 million viewers with a peak of 9.8 million viewers. Slightly down. Okay, slightly is about 55%. So, after 5 or so years of climbing numbers, crash landing for sure, or are we still flying high? Because we can also take a look at this. 2021, 4.1 million. 2022, 4.85 million. 2023, 9.9 million. I think it was 10, but we'll go with it. 2024, 18.9, and then a huge drop off in 2025 back to 8.5 million. Better than ever, as she says, Christine Brennan, except for the two historic Caitlin Clark years. As I said here, which hey, actually got quite a number of likes. This is also a Caitlin Clark year. Those are her fans who decided to give host Clark a chance. And that is true. A lot of people agreed with that. So, what is the future of women's basketball? Let's start with this viewership, right? The numbers I just gave you. So, it's kind of like women's hoops. They went from this quiet coffee shop vibe, right? Maybe a little acoustic open mic set to this sold out rock concert. Amps turned up to 11, like in Spinal Tap. Clark as the headliner on the tour, drawing the fans. But now the encore's playing. And it's not bad. 8.5 million, no ghost town for sure. But some fans are kind of they're already sneaking out the back door. They gave it a chance, not really quite sure it is what they want. So look, 8.5 million, way better than anything pre-2023. Now here's the other thing I just want to add real quick. That anything numbers in 2020, 21, 22, those sorts of things in sports have been kind of wanky. You all know what was going on at the time. The WNBA was one that cratered. I think NBA ratings cratered and so forth. And oddly enough, people were at home, but they weren't watching these things. So, but anyway, 8.5 million. Yes, better than anything pre-23 by a lot. But again, like I said, that is also the Caitlin Clark effect. It lingers, it's like that glitter you can't get off after a party. So, a ton of us, me included, think this year's still a Clark year in spirit. Her fans have tuned in to the college game to give it a shot, but well, the vibe's just not the same. I've got fans hitting me up like, honestly, I'm out next year. Nobody's grabbing me like Clark did. Maybe Shara Strong, but she's not must-see TV. Another said, hey, I appreciate Caitlin more now. This year was a snooze. Even our pal, Ben Daniel, who likes to believe he calls a spade, chimed in with, is it all downhill from here, or should we keep that spoiler under wraps? That, yes, is his subtle way of calling a spade, which is the future might not look as rosy as many people think. Well, it's like this. It's like they watched this year after their Caitlin Clark experience, kind of expecting Avengers Endgame, and they got this B movie sequel instead. Although, maybe that's not really fair. Casablanca was a B movie, and that's far better than anything Marvel has churned out post Endgame. So maybe that's not a fair comparison. But I think you get the point that I am making. Clark was the tide lifting all boats. Without her, some of those boats are rowing back to shore. Now, one thing I gotta squash because I know all of you probably get it, although we got a few that like to hate watch this channel, so maybe this is for them. And that is squashing this tired nonsense still going on from Hatelens, from those Clark haters, the ones who swear Clark exists because of Angel Reese. Angel Reese made Caitlin Clark famous after, I shouldn't even say after at the end of the 2023 title game with the whole "you can't see me" thing, which we all know that was actually in response to nothing. Reese, you know, following her around the court like a puppy dog or a 5-year-old trying to get attention, and that's why the numbers spiked. Well, let's see. The Sweet 16 in 2023. Clark and Iowa versus Colorado and ABC had 6.9 million viewers, while Reese and LSU versus um was it Utah? I forget who they played. I just blanked. Let me know in the comments below. No, it was a UCLA, right? UCLA. 3.8 million, right? So Clark almost doubled her up there. Then you had the Elite Eight. Clark's, the 41 point triple double, a record the men can't even touch. I don't think anyone's done that with a 30 pointer. That set up the Final Four. Iowa beat South Carolina, which drew 5.5 million, which was another record. And then we got to the LSU title game that hit 10 million, breaking records again, which was topped the next year without Angel Reese. Right? That little finger wag, that was in the final seconds of the game, folks. Nobody tuned in for that game with a crystal ball prediction of that happening, and that's why they were watching. I mean, I still see people spouting this nonsense about the can't see me incident. Fools never change and clearly cannot learn new things. Forget teaching old dogs new tricks. You can't teach the old guard new tricks because they don't care about basketball. As we all know, if Angel Reese had basketball fans, Unrivaled would have fared a lot better than it did. Clark was the draw all along, selling out arenas, shattering records, all before Reese ever laced up for that final. Case closed. Next caller, moving on. So where are we at now? Yes, 2025's 8.5 million crushed the pre-Clark days by miles. The floor is higher, no question about that. But come on, 18.9 million dropping down to 8.5 is not a good sign. It's a good number in and of itself, but it's worrisome because, as I mentioned with some of the comments, fans, they're not feeling it. They're saying that the games are boring, the quality's dipped, they don't like all the blowouts because there's no depth in the women's game, and they're simply not sold yet on the product. It's like losing your favorite chef at a restaurant. The food's still decent. You're not raving about it anymore. Will it grow? Get better? I guess get better if we're talking about the food, right? Will the W WNBA, will the women's college basketball grow? Maybe. If Clark's fans stick around, or even enough of them stick around, and the NCAA serves up a little spice, starts getting a little better. But right now, a lot of them are just like, call me when Caitlin's coaching or something. The numbers say it's not dead. It just might be napping a little without its superstar alarm clock. By the way, that coaching thing, now that it hits me, it's an idea for boosting Unrivaled ratings next year, don't you think? Caitlin's not going to play. She's not going to risk anything by playing in it. So maybe hire her as a coach. Honestly, she's as qualified as the coaches they had. It's an off-season 3v3 where they just shuffle players from team to team randomly. It's not like it's truly a professional organization. Hire Caitlin Clark as a coach. I guarantee the ratings will at least double. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there with the bottom line. Title game ratings took a hit, 55% down from Clark 24 peak. But again, to be fair, 8.5 million, still a monster number over the pre-Caitlin Clark dark ages. She dragged women's hoops into the spotlight. Some of that glow definitely still sticking around. Will it continue in that direction? Will it keep climbing? That's on the fans, of course, and the NCAA to figure out. Let me know what you think. Are you still watching next year, or is Clark sort of it for you? Did you check it out and be like, this really isn't for me? Maybe you found a player that you might continue to watch, but you're not really invested in the basketball as a whole. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, appreciate you checking out this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will talk to you Later.